Hello, everybody. This is Frankie from the Bosque Mobile Bicycle Repair Podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about the problems with direct to consumer bicycles, also known as DTC. You know, these days you can buy anything online, you can get almost anything delivered to your house. So, why not bicycles? There's been a big surge in direct to consumer bicycles since the pandemic. And the main key points I'm going to be talking about in this episode are consumer education. There's not a lot of consumer education out there that is non-biased. A lot of companies are making it. The second one is a lot of companies are making it appear as if it is easy to tune up or assemble a bicycle. The third bullet point would be companies will lie about the percentage of the bicycle being built. Now, there's a difference between a bicycle that's built and tuned up. We'll talk about that more. The fourth is the history, future of a company, the history or future of a company. The fifth one is how manufacturers should sell DTC bicycles. The sixth, it would be right to repair, repair parts, and standardization. The seventh would be the future of DTC bicycles. Now, I don't sell bicycles or promote a brand of bicycle. Therefore, I have no conflict of interest. And going back to consumer education, there's a lot of, there's a lot of information out there, but it's made by people who are paid by bicycle brands, are influenced, or kind of for example, a YouTuber who's an influencer, a company will give him a free bicycle and he'll give it a good review. That in exchange he gets a good bicycle. Sometimes it's payment. And so they see he has a lot of followers, he has a large audience. Therefore, he's going to, they want him to write a good review about their product. Let me see. I don't, so like I said, I don't sell bicycles. I'm not sponsored by any bicycle brand or paid by any bicycle brand. And also, I'm not going to promote any bicycles in this episode, any specific brands. And I'm not going to mention the problems with any specific brand in this episode or on this. But on my social media, I'm going to show examples of some things that have happened to me when repairing customers' bicycles. Some examples of in the field. I'm going to tell you some examples too, but I'm not going to name drop any here on this episode. And so that's why I'm making this podcast, because I want people to be educated. And but yeah, there may be multiple episodes on this subject, because it's very there's a lot of information to cover. So that's what I'm going to say. So a little on my background. I was a bicycle mechanic before I started this business. I started my business I ventured out on my own and created my own business during the pandemic. And that's when the cycling boom happened. So a lot of people were buying online. Just in general, people were buying a lot of products. It became extremely normal. There was a rise in seniors online shopping. DTC bicycles, or direct-to-consumer bicycles, were booming. I was building a lot of DTC bicycles from different companies, different brands. But there is issues with the bicycles and the companies that sell them. It would be great if you could buy a bicycle online that was tuned up, assembled, and ready to ride with no issues, without having to deal with a bike shop salesman or traffic to get to the shop, without having to transport the bike from the shop. Unfortunately, this is not happening now in the year 2024, even though we have artificial intelligence, the second man living and walking with a mechanical heart, and a SpaceX rocket ship getting caught by mechanical arms in midair. In this podcast, I'm going to say it again, I will not recommend any bikes to protect my reputation, and especially for legal reasons. I will not name drop any manufacturers or companies in this podcast, but there will be videos on my social media about the specific bike companies that I would be cautious about. Just in case I do get legal action taken against me, they cannot take down this important episode, Educating Consumers, because it does not specifically name any company. So, I think I already went over the bullet points. Yeah, okay. So, I write this down so that way I don't leave anything out. I'm going to try to upload a document on Odyssey. What other platform can I upload it to? Odyssey can do video and upload PDFs. That's why I like it. YouTube, you can't upload documents. You can upload stuff to Google Docs, but I think it's easier if you just go to one place to watch my videos and see documents that I've written. Because I do have a really good document on top 10 reasons why customers get flats or people get flats on Odyssey. Check it out. Okay, so we're going to talk about consumer education. That's the first bullet point topic that I want to talk about. So like I said, there's not a lot of reliable information to educate consumers. A lot of it has a conflict of interest, and it's really bad. It's unfortunate that there's not a lot of unbiased information out there, and a lot of these influencers aren't even bicycle mechanics, so they don't really have a high mechanical aptitude, because if they did, they would explain like, oh, look at this. They'd be showing examples, but they don't. And you just see like maybe little cut up pieces of video of them building up the bike, or some like really fast video, like a time-lapse video of them building the bike. And a lot of times it's not even a long-term review. It's just a real short-term review. There's a couple of YouTube channels I watch. They're very popular. I'm not going to name drop them, but I remember one time there's this e-bike that's really popular. It's really cheap. It's like one of the cheapest on the market, but it's like, it's been around for a while. That brand's been around for a while. And I don't know if they just sell in America. By the way, I'm speaking from my experience here in America and seeing people here, but anyways, I'm going to talk about that later. So anyways, that product is sold a lot. I think it's sold on Amazon. Also, they sell directly on their website, but it's horrible. Oh my gosh, the rear wheel, to take it off is such a pain. They sell fat bike tires, but every time I get a call and it's that bike, I dread it. It's real bad. And the people that review that bike, they always give it a good review. And I'm like, it's the worst bike. It's not the worst bike, but it's pretty bad. To adjust the brakes and center the wheel and the dropouts is a struggle, and it takes time, and it's a real pain to work on. And so I'm gonna start charging more if I see that bike, because I'm gonna be like, you know what, that bike is a pain to to make it the brakes not rub, because a lot of times it's disc brakes. Yeah, I've never seen it with a rim brake, but it's disc brake, and yeah, that's not a. So that's how I know they're getting paid, and to write a good review is because that channel reviews a lot of different bikes, and so they're comparing that bike with some bikes that are pretty decent and pretty good, and that bike's not good. It's it's cheap, it's affordable, but it's not the great. I wouldn't recommend that bike. So that's how I know, like, you just can't really trust some of these influencers out there. They're not dealing with a wide range of bicycles like I am, and they don't know what quality is. Um, so let me see. I wrote some things down. Okay. Oh yeah. So because I'm online, I have a very strong presence online. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a website. I'm on 10 different social media platforms. It's not hard to get in contact with me. And a lot of what a lot of reason why people contact me is because I'm on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's a B2B platform, so it's business to business. Like, people are trying to sell a large volume of products to companies to resell. So there's a lot of people from China over there. There's a lot of people that are salesmen from China. So I know that's how they get my email. Also because I'm on YouTube. My YouTube's very popular. So I get contacted by companies in China all the time, wanting me to sell their bikes. Like, okay, we want you to sell our bikes. A lot of times it's they want me to mark it up 50%, so I'm making a 50% profit. Of course, if I had a overhead, I would it wouldn't be 50%. It'd be a lot less, because of the cost of goods sold. But a lot of times they want to give me a free bike, they want me to review it, or they want to sell me a large amount of bikes for cheap, and make videos about it. They're you know they're very straightforward about it. You know, I don't think I've been offered payment up forward um, to give a good review about the bicycle. Um, I have been contacted by um, people in other countries. It's mostly like India, or I think it's like India, where I could pay them to give me good reviews on my business, which is it's not really hard to get fake reviews these days, fake likes, fake reviews on any platform. You just have to have the money and know the right people. Um, but yeah, I get contacted them by all the time, and a lot of these influencers will will do anything to get free stuff. They're like, okay, well, it's a free bike. I'll just give it a free review. Um, if the bike ends up turning to be bad or crappy, um, then I didn't. There was no loss. I even met a guy on the bike trail. He was doing some. I met a guy on the bike trail. He was doing some uh, videography. He was recording some people on an electric scooter, and he came up to me. He's like, because he wanted his bicycle fixed, and he hands me his card. He goes, "Yeah, I make a bunch of videos for companies, and in return they gave me a bunch of free stuff." So the guy's making videos for these companies, making like free promotional products, and all he's getting in return is free stuff. So people will do anything for like free stuff, even if it's not great, but they'll just do it. I mean, if the product's good, I mean, yeah, I guess it would be a good trade-off. But like I said, I'm a bike mechanic, so I'll know right away. I'm not going to ruin my reputation promoting a bad product, because eventually people are going to find out it's a bad product. Down the road, people are going to be like, hey, this is not that great. Um, so word's going to get out. You can't hide it. You know what I mean? Let me see here. So yeah, another thing. So a lot of content, or like say you want an opinion. Some content's made by bike shops, and sometimes a lot of people go to bike shops to get their opinion. For some information, education about bicycles, buying bicycles. You can't trust bike shops. I want to say you can, but you can't, because there's a conflict of interest. They sell bicycles. They may be biased, because they don't like any bikes that they wouldn't sell or that they do sell. They, you just can't trust them. You can't trust them. Sometimes they're very, like for example, it's a high-end shop. It's a mountain bike shop. And, they're about the high-end brands, I'm trying not to name drop any, but I'm not talking bad about these brands, but anyways, like say it's like the top companies, mountain bike companies, and maybe they sell one or two of them, but they like the other top companies. So you say, what about this brand? And oh yeah, I don't like that brand. Nah, it's cheap, or it's just because something is not expensive doesn't mean it's good quality. You don't always have to spend thousands of dollars. Well, depends on what you're doing, but you don't always have to spend thousands of dollars to get a decent bike. If it's a recreation bicycle, you don't have to spend over. For me, I don't think you should spend over $3,000. I mean, you can, but it just depends on what's the features. But yeah, I don't know. I want to say you can, but even the bike shops that I was good associates with, I mean, they ended up saying some stuff I didn't like. But yeah, I wouldn't trust bike shops in general. I've even had a customer, because she reads my website, she sees my content, she knows I don't sell bicycles. I'm not biased. I'm straightforward. And I've stated this in other videos I posted on my social media. She was going to pay me to go with her in the bike shop to go buy a bicycle. She was going to hire me for consultation purposes. I do consultation. I've had people hire me to come inspect their bicycle or tell me what they think, or want me to tell them if it's worth to repair it. Is it safe? Should they just sell it? I've had people hire me to do that service. I do consultation services. So she was going to hire me to go to the bike shop with her to buy the bike, because these salesmen are pretty pushy. And, I've been to a bike shop where they have tried to sell me a bike that doesn't fit me. And I'm like, no, this bike does not fit me. And I didn't tell them I was a bicycle mechanic, And I'm just like, so she, I will do that service. Just to let you know, you can book an appointment on my website. Hey, I got to make money. Yeah, don't trust content from bike shops. Let me see here again. Especially because, bike shops, they're very desperate to make a sale. Especially in this time when it's not even profitable to run a bike shop or a retail business. And bike shops, they're retail businesses. They have a service side, but they mainly focus on the retail side, the selling side. It's it's expensive to run it. They're desperate to sell bicycles just to pay the rent, insurance, and keep the lights on. And the manufacturers from these big brands make them meet a quota or else they no longer sell to the bike shops. And the worst thing that can happen to a bike shop owner is losing his prestige or reputation by not selling a well-known brand. Bike shops are a lifestyle business, or like my finance teacher stated in school, an expensive hobby. Like I said, except unless it's one of those bike shops that sell mainly used bikes, they don't really care about um, selling a high-end bike. Anyways, like I said, I don't sell bicycles. There's no money in selling bicycles, especially with the price of an overhead brick or mortar store. I don't want to waste my time with tire kickers or people that want to waste my time looking at bicycles they can't afford. I have no conflict of interest. My report and information is more reliable and reputable. Anyways, enough about me ranting about that. I'm gonna talk to you about some examples of issues with the DTC bicycle. So recently, this customer bought an e-bike, and the fork was removed. They packaged the bicycle, put it in the bike box with the fork removed. It was a threadless. It had a threadless steer tube. It had a threadless stem. So it wasn't a quill stem. It wasn't it didn't have a quill stem. It was like a newer style technology. Most of the time, when they sell direct-to-consumer bicycles, that fork is installed. And the stem is loosened and maybe the handlebars are removed or they're turned. But I think it was the only case that I've seen where the fork was not pre-installed. Most people are not mechanically inclined. These days, people are just not mechanically inclined. They don't know what they're doing. I've seen everything. In 3 years, I've been in business for over 3 years. I've seen pretty much everything. Anyways, this gentleman, he put they call it the race, I believe. Sometimes I forget my terminology of these parts. He put the top one on the bottom, and it was wobbling. So when I went to go adjust the stem and the headset, I felt a vibration. I was like, and I was adjusting the stem cap, and I'm like, it feels pretty tight. It feels, you're not supposed to put it over tighten it, but anyways, I ended up taking it apart and I found out he put the race on the bottom, and so the bearings, he probably damaged the bottom. He damaged the bottom race. So that's one example of an issue with the direct-to-consumer bicycle. They should not have sent that bicycle without the fork installed. I've never seen that happen before. Now, it'll probably be, if they throw the box, UPS or FedEx or, I don't know, the shipping carrier, they damage the box. If they damage the box, it might add more protection, if the fork, rather than if the fork was installed. But I've never seen that. I wouldn't trust, a customer to put that on. There was just tightening the stem bolts and adjusting the headset. Most people can't do that. They can't do it. I've seen it loose, and that one of the most dangerous things a person can do to make a bicycle unsafe. It can cause injury or death, especially if you're riding in traffic. If those stem bolts are loose, your handlebar can turn one way. You could be steering right, and your wheel can go left. So that's why those stem bolts have to be torqued to the right, specifications. Or at least to a minimum of, I'm not going to say the minimum because for legal reasons, but I do it, Most of the time it's like around 6 Newton meters. Always check with the manufacturer for their recommendations. If it's those adjustable stems, like not the stem clamp, but where it kind of tilts upwards, for an upright position. Those ones are a higher torque. It's usually around 9 Newton meters. But anyways, that was another example. That was an example of something I've seen that was really bad for a direct-to-consumer bike. Um, Also, another thing with these direct-to-consumer bicycles is they don't sell pre-stretched cables. They don't stretch the cables, pre-stretch them before they send them out. So a lot of talking about brake cables, shifting cables. So they sell these bicycles, and over time the cables stretch, and there's shifting and brake issues. And when the customer goes to try to adjust them, they adjust it improperly, and it ends up damaging the bike. It becomes unsafe, damaging the brakes. Even bike shops don't even sell. A good bike shop will pre-stretch the cables before they sell the bike. But most of them don't do that, and that's why they give you the free tune-up. A lot of these, I remember these ladies were telling me, "Oh, we're gonna go buy a bike from this big chain brand, so and so, and they give us a free tune-up, within a year." And I'm like, "Yeah, the reason why, because they don't, the bike's not that well tuned up." Okay. Let me think of another example. Oh, there was so this one I want to talk about. I feel so bad for this lady. She commuted. She bought an e-bike and she commuted to work with the e-bike. And this brand is very well known here in America. I think it was I know it had to be in the top 5 brands of e-bikes sold here in America. She so I went to go tune up the bike, and then the motor burned out. Something happened with the motor. She bought the bike. She didn't read the warranty. So the motor, the rear motor, it was a rear motor hub e-bike. It had a 1-year warranty. Well, the motor burned out. She called them up. It had been just over a year, and that motor burned out. So sad. And she was commuting to work with that bike. Luckily, she didn't live that far from work, and she could take the bus. But still, I don't like taking the bus. Bunch of crazy people on there. So they sent her a new wheel with the new motor, of course, and she had to pay for it. When she called me to install it, and so I went there, and I pulled the wheel out of the box, and the wires were cut. They were some of them weren't cut all the way through. Well, few, yeah, it was probably 2 of them. There's a 3, I think it's 4 pins, 3 pins, 3 wires. Anyways, that run to the motor. Anyways, they were damaged. They were damaged. They were cut. And they didn't expect that wheel before they shipped it out. They didn't see if it was damaged. And so they sent that wheel to her, and it had the wires cut. So I went over there. I take deposit before I go over there. And it was, I couldn't install it. I couldn't put it on. It was damaged. She had to call them back up, to get another one. It was damaged. The wires were cut on it. And this is before I knew how to solder. Now I know how to solder wires. I know how to, do the heat shrink tubing on it, everything. Now, looking back, I was like, man, if I didn't have my tools, I didn't have the knowledge. Now I can do basic electronic repairs. But back then, I didn't know what I was doing. But she was a good customer of mine, and I helped her out. A regular. She's a good person. So I felt bad. Some of these people that are buying these bikes, they're relying on them to get to work, make money. They don't have time. time to deal with these issues. See, the whole point of buying direct to consumer DTC, buying online, is so you don't have to deal with these problems. You don't got time. You just want the bike delivered to your house in working condition. You don't want to deal with it. And so these companies, instead of you know, spending the money on what they call quality control, that's a manufacturing term, quality control, they're they're not spending that money, and they're passing down the cost onto the consumer. Because what happens? They have to hire somebody like me to come out and repair the bike. Or they got to take it to the shop, which is more time consuming, which costs more money. And, there's a saying, time is money. That's something I live by. Time is money. How valuable is your time? To me, my time is valuable. I don't like to waste time. I like to make money. And, these customers, you ended up spending probably the same amount of money as you would with a bike shop, buying it from a bike shop, because it's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's unfortunate because a lot of these customers get upset because they're thinking, oh, this bicycle is easy to build. They got a nice commercial, just like the bike comes in and they open it, it's built, they're riding it, yay. But they open it, they build it, there's problems, they don't know how to build the bike, it ends up being not adjusted, there's a manufacturing defect. It's very unfortunate. It reminds me when I was working as a bike mechanic. A coworker had bought a really expensive mountain bike. This was worth at least a couple grand, at least $3,000. It was from a real high end, well-known mountain bike brand. Full suspension, hydraulic brakes, disc brakes, and he was gonna go on a trip. He bought that bike. He's a mechanic. He was gonna build it. I think he got it maybe a couple days before his trip. He built the bike. I believe it had a bottom bracket issue. So it wasn't something he needed the part. Like, it's not something you could fix. And those parts are very proprietary, or, they're not that common. You're not going to really have them in stock. We didn't have them in stock. So they had to overnight that brand. He called him up. He goes, man, I bought this bike. He goes, I was going to take it on me with this trip. I planned this trip out, took time off work. So anyways, they overnighted the part to him so he can go on his trip. Okay. I'm trying to think of another story. Let's see, it was another one. I think I'm gonna jump to this topic. Yeah, I'm gonna jump to this topic I was talking about. So, like, how talking about 90% built, because that's something I used to get told by a lot of customers. Is like, hey, they used to call me up. Some people used to call me up. Hey, how much is it to build this? How much is it to build a bike? Well, what kind of bike is it? Is it a regular bike? Is it an e-bike? Is it a road bike? Whatever. And I tell them the price, and they get a little, they'd be like, oh, well, this bike's 90% built. Oh, it's this percentage. It says this percentage built on the bike. All you got to do is come over and do it real quick, and that's it. And I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, well, you know what? Go to another shop, because that's my price. Go somewhere else. You don't like it? I don't care. And I'm like, and I'm trying to explain to him, it's not 90% built. You still, it might be 90% put together, but it's still got to be tuned up. Like I talk about the pre-stretched cables. If it's a cable break, they're trying to say, so they think I'm just trying to rip them off, and eventually down the road, these customers will build the bike, and they realize there's a lot more issues with it. It's not tuned up, so they end up calling me and end up having to fix their mistakes. That's a big misconception in the industry. They're making these videos. Of course, they're commercials, and they're making it look like it's just simple to put this bike together. It's simple to tune it up. Oh, we got great customer service and this and that. We got our services from business hours. You can call us anytime. We can help you fix it. Well, guess what? That bike is not that great. So when you do call customer service, a bunch of people are calling just like you that bought the bike, and they don't got time to answer the phone. There was a big brand. They have like a little call-in line where you can, help you fix your bicycle or something like that. Well, that was one of the biggest brands in America. You're not going to get through to them. No, I even tried to call them. Uh, I think I had to go on their online chat. Oh, ended up emailing them. That way they can email me back. Um, but yeah, the whole the whole reason why they make a lot of money is because they don't got overhead and they're not spending a lot of money on their customer support, customer service. Um, they're making these. It's not easy to tune up a bike. If it was, I wouldn't make any money. I wouldn't. I would never have any customers. But it's not. You know, People these days are not people here in America, but I've met people from around the world. I've had customers. You know, there's a lot of people from around the world here in America. So people are not mechanically inclined. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not easy to tune up a bike. It's not easy to put it together. You know, if you want to do it safely and make that bicycle running more safe and efficiently. So that's why I don't like this misleading marketing that it's super easy to build a bike. Super easy to it's 90% built. Like yeah, that e-bike I was telling you about, the one where the guy put the fork on incorrectly and the bearings in the races. It said 90% of the box. He even said, he goes, "Oh, that's 90% of the box." And I'm like, and then he built it, and I'm just like, man, the scary thing was, I'm not gonna. Anyways, I don't want to go to that rabbit hole, but this guy selling some product, and I'm like, man, he shouldn't be selling that product because he's not even mechanically inclined, but 'cause it was a mechanical product. Yeah. Anyways, so what was I gonna say? So tuned up, 90% built. Yeah, most of the time it's not even safe to ride because it's not tuned up. It's not safe, and it's not even safe to ride the bike. Uh, there was a big brand. I'm going to tell you another example. There was a big brand. It wasn't. I think they did sell e-bikes, but they mainly sold regular bikes, like recreational bikes. They're a really cool company. I liked everything about the bike. The bike was the components on it. It had I think it had Tektro brakes or Avid brakes. I think it was Tektro. Yeah, it was Tektro. It was Tektro brakes. I think it was, but they had the hydraulic brakes. Everything on the bike I liked. I think the only thing I switched out was the tires. The customer saw my video on like puncture resistant tires, so he bought them and he had me install them on there. Or no, I forgot. I forgot what happened. I think it came with good tires, like really puncture. It came with some puncture resistant tires. So I I went out there. It was nice. It was nice recreational bicycle. It was belt drive. It had a belt drive. This brand is known for having belt drives on all their bikes. Um, and so I went out there. I built the bike, and I think it was the right brake or the front brake. It was low on. It had air in the line, or had a little bit of hydraulic. The brakes weren't working. They were working, but they're barely working. Like, you couldn't stop as fast as you would if the brakes were bled properly. But all that brand had to do was squeeze the brake levers with the wheels in, with the wheels installed, the disc brakes. You know, uh, check the brakes, squeeze the brake lever before they sent out the bike to the customer. That's all they had to do, and they couldn't do it. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe they hired a guy who did that, but he didn't do his job that day. So that customer hired me. I went out there, built the bike, tuned it up. Um, I told him, I said, hey, your brakes need to be bled. You know, I said, I don't think I brought my bleed kit that day, but I told him, I said, we can come back out and bleed your brakes. He's like, no, 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 because I told him I think it was I charged like $40 to bleed the brakes. I think it was like something like that. Anyways, he didn't want to spend that. It was like 30, 40. I told him 30, 40. You know, he didn't want to spend that money because he probably thought I was trying to rip him off or trying to charge him more. But I'm like, yo, this is a safety issue. Anyways, he said no, so I didn't do it. Um, but and he paid me a lot of money to fix up another bike because he bought a lot of parts for it. So he did spend a lot of money on my service because I fixed two of his bicycles. So that leads me to the next one of how these companies should sell these bikes. So there was a company that I know of. Okay, this is how a company should sell bikes. A company should see a lot of times they're mostly made over in China by like one factory. Some are made in Taiwan. Most of the good ones are made in Taiwan. Those are like the boutique ones. A lot of the boutique ones, like the really high end ones, are made in Taiwan. But there is some mass manufacturing. There is mass production in Taiwan bicycles. There's not just the boutique shops or manufacturers, but they do compete with China. But anyways, like the big one in China is the one who makes most of the bikes. The big company. Anyway, so this is what happens with these bike companies. So they'll buy a brand. They'll put in the order, their design, send their prints over there. And they'll start building it to their specifications. And a lot of times these companies will send somebody overseas or hire somebody overseas to be quality control, watch to make sure that they're building their bikes. They're not doing a bad job. So, anyways, the bikes get shipped over here in the containers in their bike boxes, and this is what companies should do. Some of them do it, some of them don't. Some of them do batch testing. I think there was one company I was going to work for. They do batch testing, so they'll take a bike out of every 20 boxes, check it, build it, check it out. This is what they should do. They should take them all out of the box, kind of do a pre-inspection tune-up, do a pre-tune-up, a slight tune-up on there, and then if they're, that's for like, I'm thinking about a retail store. So if they're smart about it, they'll take them out, build them, tune them up, check everything on them, make sure they're safe, then put them back in the box, then package them again. And that way, when they send them to the customer, they know that bike is safe, it's tuned up, they inspected it, but they don't do that. What they do is they'll get the bikes in from China or Taiwan or wherever. It's mostly China or Taiwan. I don't even think I've never heard of a bike being built anywhere else. So they'll get them. They'll do, like I said, the batch testing, or sometimes they don't even do that at all. You can tell the ones that don't do it at all. And so when somebody places an order, they just send them out. So they didn't even inspect them. I'm gonna tell you right now, if it comes from overseas, straight from overseas, it's gonna have issues with that bike. It's not gonna be tuned up. They're all built on an assembly line. They're just, I don't think I've ever heard of a bike coming from overseas in tip-top condition. I just saw a news. There's like a little niche brand. I've heard of this brand before. They're actually out here in Colorado, and they were saying, and I think they're just direct to consumer. They might sell these in shops. Like not every shop's gonna have them. Maybe a few shops, but they were showing and they didn't really talk about it in that news because the news went over there. But they were taking them out and tuning them up. They were doing them a full tune-up and inspection for each bike. Um, and I could tell that company before they send out a bike, they tune it up and they check it before it gets to that customer because it's a pretty high-end mountain bike brand. Um, so yeah, that's how bike brands should sell bicycles. Bike companies should sell bicycles, but they want to save money, they want to keep profits up. If they start doing that, it's going to bring the profit margin way down. And they're thinking, oh, we're just going to make a quick video, post it online, and all the customer can figure it out themselves. Or we can hire a couple of tech guys, bike mechanics to give customer support over the phone. I'm gonna tell you, trying to tell somebody how to fix a bicycle over the phone is like, I don't know what to compare that to. But that's not gonna happen. You gotta have the terminology. I don't even know all the names of the parts. Sometimes I'm getting old. I don't know. I forget. I forget. I forget the names of people. You gotta make me. I'm gonna remember every little part or piece on a bicycle, and these customers don't know nothing. They don't even know what derailleur is. They don't even know the simple terminology. Turn to the left. Oh, man, if customers were that smart, if people were that smart, they could watch videos online and know how to build the bike and tune it up. But you know what? Nobody has time for that. See, that goes back to the time is money thing. You know what I mean? That nobody time is money. Do the people that bought? Do you think that people that buy online that don't want to waste their time go to the bike shop that want to save time? Do you think they want to spend the time to go online learning how to fix a bike? Some do. Some want to. Some want to. Some want to do that. Some people want me to teach them or want me to tell them. And I'm like, you know what? If you want me to tell you how to fix a bike, you got to pay me. And they get upset. They don't want to, they stop talking. And I'm like, or you can go to YouTube for free. I don't, they don't even watch my videos. They won't watch YouTube. They wanted to ask me and they want it for free. And I'm like, nah, you ain't getting it for free. Pay me, I'll show you how to fix it. But, so like, oh, like, it's just people are not. I'm just. It's so funny. These brands, uh, bike brands are just what is it called? They're very volatile. These companies, bike companies, are very risky, volatile. Um, some of them are pump and dump schemes. Some of them are honestly legit pump and dump schemes. Um, you know. So 1 minute you see them, next minute you don't. Sometimes there's trends. Sometimes these bikes are made because there's like a boost in trends, and then they disappear because the trend dies. For example, I used to like fixies and fixed gear bikes. Um, there was a lot of fixed what was it fixed gear bikes, fixie bikes 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and now those brands are died out. A lot of times these companies will go bankrupt. They get bought up by bigger companies. It's a brand. And they'll disappear. So you gotta think about the present condition, and the future of these companies. Are they gonna be around for a long time? A lot of people are buying bikes off of Amazon. The e-bike market is real booming. I see a lot of regular bicycles being DTC bought, but I see a lot of e-bikes being bought direct to consumer. I think that's more now. I think people will buy. I don't want to. From what I'm seeing a lot of people buy regular bicycles used in person or at a bike shop. But a lot of DTC, a lot of cruisers get bought. Regular non-electric bicycles, a lot of them are cruisers, are recreational bicycles. Um, Recreational bicycles are the biggest most sold bicycles. Not all the bicycles is recreational. But a lot of e-bikes are being. I think most of the e-bikes that are being sold are DTC, in my opinion. Uh, and then I can go into the industry. The reason why a lot of shops don't, you know, sell a lot of e-bikes is because it's insurance reasons. This fire hazard. When lithium, everybody knows about the electric cars that are setting on fire. Well, e-bikes do set on fire too. So the insurance is through the roof. So a lot of these bike shops weren't selling e-bikes because their insurance rate would go up. And then the possibility of a fire, you're gonna lose your whole shop. So yeah, and then also now the landlords don't even want e-bikes in their buildings. But anyways, a lot of the e-bikes being sold are direct to consumer. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, this is gonna lead me in my next topic. So you get these brands popping up and they're selling. They're pushing a lot of product online. They bought a bunch of stuff overseas and they're actually selling it overseas. They got some of the companies over there are just. There's a lot of people over there that overseas that'll go to the company because they live right there. They live in the country. They'll go over there, drop some money, tell the company to make a bunch of e-bikes, put their brand on it, slap their brand on it, and then they'll sell them on Amazon. Over here in America, selling them for cheap, and when they sell all their inventory, they close down shop. They're like, oh, we made our money back. Of course, if it didn't sell fast, they're not gonna keep buying more to sell again. They're just gonna close up shop. They're like, yeah, we got our money back. We made a profit. Why are we gonna continue this brand? So a lot of people will buy these bikes and they'll call them up for customer support. The company's closed. You ain't gonna do. And what are you gonna do? They're overseas. You can't sue them. They're in China. What are you gonna sue? What are you gonna hire some lawyer in the People's Republic of China? You gonna there's so you can't do anything to them. Even the companies over here that are based here, they'll pop up and they'll close down. Some of them are like pump and dump schemes. Some of them are just legitimate. They want to be in business for long term, but they ain't making no money. Some of them are just, they're so niche and they're arrogant and they're little. They think everybody's gonna want to buy their bike, and everybody should like this bike, and they end up getting, you just getting up closing up shop. Anyway, but like I said, you gotta do your research. Unfortunately, a lot of research out there is not reliable. It's biased, and but yeah, I'm gonna. This is gonna be the episode. This is gonna be part one. I'm gonna wrap it up right now. Anyways, check out my social media. My links are on my website to all of the social media platforms I'm on. I got over 150 videos on the major social media platforms. And on YouTube, I think I have a lot of long format videos. I have a lot of shorts on there too. I'm on Odyssey. Check that out. There's another video platform. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm on Snapchat. I don't post a lot on there, but anyways, ride safe. Do your research, do your homework. I do consultations for on bikes, and if you want to go shopping, I can go with you. I might just charge you to buy me some new gear. No, I need some money. But anyways, check out my website, www.bosquemobilebicyclerepair.com. Have a great ride, everybody. Subscribe, hit the like button. Please. No, I'm not going to beg you like all those other content creators. But yeah, have a great ride. I hope you learned something. If you did, comment below, and if you have any questions, comment below. So I'm out of here. Thank you, everybody, and ride safe.